Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Dose. So Xbox's CFO said some things today that raised some eyebrows, and I mean, this caused a lot of speculation online on whether or not Xbox is looking to go the way of Sega. In other words, are they the next platform holder that will go completely multi-platform, completely third-party? And I have a lot of thoughts on this discussion. So we will dive into that whole ordeal today, and then also a surprising game leaked out yesterday just ahead of the Game Awards. Might get a little bit more of an official announcement there. But in the meantime, I mean, everything leaked out. Fans were playing this game and everything. So this is a confirmed leak. Before we get into all of that, though, we do have plenty of other things to talk about. And actually, speaking of the Game Awards, Xbox's Sarah Bond seems to be teasing something. This appears to coincide with him also notifying fans to tune into the Game Awards for some Xbox news. As I said yesterday, that could be small news, it could be something big. We really don't know too much of anything right now, but Sarah Bond did tweet out a mysterious post that simply shows an Xbox 360 logo. Now, she hasn't elaborated as to why she posted this or what it means, but the leading theory right now is that this could be related to the Activision acquisition and backwards compatibility. They still don't have all of those Activision Xbox 360 games compatible on the Xbox series, such as the old Transformers series. There's Spider-Man, you have Tony Hawk, some of those old Spyro and Crash Bandicoot games, and even X-Men. So maybe they're prepping some of those for the Xbox series, which, you know, that would, of course, also go into Game Pass as well. I mean, even more so here, this could, indicate a Call of Duty announcement as they prepare all those Xbox 360 Call of Duty games for Xbox Game Pass. That would actually be pretty big news considering the popularity of the series. Now, they have said prior to this, though, that Activision games won't release in the Game Pass until 2024, but maybe they're ahead of schedule. I wouldn't go in expecting that or anything, but maybe they can announce them for an early 2024 release, if anything else. Now, of course, this is just one theory, though, as to what she's possibly teasing. It could be for something entirely different, but it definitely seems like something Xbox 360 related will be revealed soon, and most likely at the Game Awards. If you do have any guesses as to what she could be referring to, though, let me hear it in the comments below. Now, we also got the December PlayStation Plus lineup, which is actually a pretty solid month overall. They revealed LEGO 2K Drive, Power Wash, and Sable, which will be available for the base tier on December 5th. And I mean, these are some pretty good quality games that aren't necessarily all that old. I'd say a lot of people haven't played these games yet, and that's the thing that you want from a subscription service. You don't just want quality games, but you also want good games that you haven't played already. And I think that this lineup does a decent job at both of those things. If anything else, I think that it's probably their best lineup since increasing the price of the service. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily saying all that much. The last couple months have not been great, and does this actually justify the new price? No, not really. I still do think that they need day one games consistently, and they still haven't really offered that. So I don't really think that this lineup is suddenly going to change people's minds about the service and its price tag, but if you are already subscribed, I'd say that this is a pretty decent list of games to play this holiday, especially LEGO 2K Drive, which released just earlier this year. If you have a child that gets a new PS5 this holiday, and if they get PlayStation Plus as well, this is a pretty decent game for them to try out. All right, so let's go and talk about this Xbox situation, though, and honestly, this statement is kind of baffling because it really has no business being made in public because it's just such a weird message to give consumers, even if it's being misconstrued, which in this case, I do suspect. We'll get back to that here in a moment. But first, let's take a look at what's going on here. So the Xbox CFO, Tim Stewart, in an interview with TechRaptor, was talking about subscriptions and consoles, and this is what the article says. Microsoft is expanding its operating leverage. First-party, subscriptions, and advertising are all high-margin businesses that the company wants to expand into. While he's not announcing anything broadly, Stewart explains that Xbox's mission is to bring its first-party experiences and subscription services to every screen that can play a game. That means smart TVs, that means mobile devices, that means what we would have thought as competitors in the past, like PlayStation and Nintendo. We're going to NVIDIA's GeForce Now, their gaming subscription service. So, I mean, wow. This is quite a message to send to fans. Again, we'll come back to that here in just a moment because that's where I see the real problem here. The message is just bizarre. It is a mixed message, more or less, that they're sending to their fans. And if I'm Phil Spencer here, I'm frustrated because the way he worded this should have never been said publicly. It, however, was. So we do need to talk about it. Is Tim Stewart actually suggesting that Xbox wants to go third-party in the future? And no, I don't think that that's what he's saying. For one, you wouldn't really announce it like this in some random interview. This does nothing positive for the brand and its immediate future unless they had something to announce, which clearly they don't. He even said here that he's not announcing anything. Beyond that, though, and why I think that this does not mean anything about them going third party is because we already know a couple key details about Xbox releasing games on other platforms that I think is very important to this entire discussion. One is that Xbox already releases certain games like Call of Duty and Minecraft on other platforms. So yes, we already know that they plan to release certain games on a case-by-case basis for PlayStation and Nintendo, which is probably what he's actually referring to here because he didn't really say anything too specific. This, however, doesn't suddenly mean that they plan to bring every game to all platforms, which you can really see the proof of that with games like Starfield, Indiana Jones, Hellblade, Fable, etc., etc. We even know that they have The Elder Scrolls 6 planned for only Xbox platforms, which is PC and Xbox. That's not going to change anytime soon. They have internal plans to release all of these games exclusively. More or less, it is a case-by-case situation where certain games, again, Call of Duty and Minecraft, will be multi-platform, while others will be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. That is the other part of the story, though, and this really is probably the most important thing, and that is Xbox Game Pass. Phil Spencer has already addressed this in the past, but this is what he said after acquiring Bethesda. If you're an Xbox customer, the thing that I want you to know is this is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Game Pass exists, and that's our goal. So you're hearing it straight from the Xboss himself, and that is the final part to this entire story. The reason that I wouldn't hold my breath for Xbox games on other platforms or other consoles is because the vast majority of Xbox's games aren't going anywhere that Game Pass isn't available on. Nintendo and PlayStation doesn't want Game Pass on their platforms because it takes away from their ecosystem and their own subscription services. So as long as Game Pass exists and as long as Nintendo and PlayStation doesn't want it on their systems, Xbox consoles will continue to be made. They will continue to get exclusives because that is what drives people to their subscriptions. Xbox consoles are a big part of that. And for that matter, they have invested a lot of resources to bolster this ecosystem. That's why they've been on an acquisition spree since 2017. It's why they went out and acquired Playground Games. You have Ninja Theory. There's Obsidian Entertainment. You have Double Fine, Activision Blizzard. There's Bethesda. All of these acquisitions is to give them the content to make this service, this ecosystem work for them. It is about the long term. And that's the thing that I think everybody needs to kind of understand. It is about the long term. Before jumping to the conclusion that they're going to go third party, we do first need to see what happens with these acquisitions. I mean, we're just now starting to get to the point where we're starting to see some of those acquisitions put out some games. I mean, we just got Starfield. There was Hi-Fi Rush this year. You're going to have Hellblade 2 next year, Avowed, Perfect Dark's on the way. We have Everwild, Fable, and the list kind of goes on and on and on. They have a strong lineup of games coming over the next so many years, and we need to see how those acquisitions perform for them. Will that help drive growth to their ecosystem? And that will tell us a lot about their future. But for now, yeah, I would not hold my breath that they are going to suddenly go multi-platform or anything like that. They did not invest all of this money into all of these resources to just kind of give up before even seeing what will happen. Again, they will only support platforms where Game Pass is available, and Xbox is a major part of that ecosystem. So yeah, I wouldn't look at this statement as any type of confirmation that they're going third party or anything like that, but I do understand some of the confusion that people have. The thing about Xbox is that they do have a tendency of sending mixed messages at times, and whether intentional or not, a statement like this, it does bring unnecessary questions to the Xbox brand, because there is that mixed message. On one side, you have Phil Spencer, the Xboss himself, talking about exclusives in the future of the Xbox brand, and then you have the CFO, and what he says, it does confuse the community a little bit. So it would be nice to see Phil Spencer simply come out and say that, yeah, consoles are very important to our business, and we're not going third party anytime soon. That would really just kind of stop all of the speculation going forward, but I guess we'll see if he decides to address it or not. Now, we do have one other thing to talk about here, though, because a surprising Ubisoft game leaked out last night, and I mean, this was playable and everything. And I am talking about Beyond Good and Evil, the 20th Anniversary Edition. This first leaked out on the Xbox Store, and it did say that it will have 4K resolution, 60 frames per second with improved graphics, controls, and audio, along with brand new autosave and cross-save features. So at first, it does sound like a pretty good upgrade overall compared to the original, but that was until fans actually got to play it themselves. Ubisoft also accidentally somehow released it to Ubisoft Plus subscribers, and those fans were sharing videos of gameplay and images online. And that's where the concern started to set in. I mean, hey, it's cool to see this game come back and everything, especially, because the sequel still isn't out. But from what was being shared online, it started to become a little bit more unsettling that there might be some issues here. There was some comparisons of the new version versus the original, and not everybody seemed thrilled about some of the changes that they were making, and the new version also seemed to have some issues with things like different visual effects and its water, as an example, which, if true, that is incredibly disappointing for longtime fans, but I am happy to say that there is still some hope here because Ubisoft has addressed the concern with an official announcement. I mean, they kind of had to because it's not like this game is a big secret anymore, but this is what they said. An early development version of Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition was recently released to some Ubisoft Plus subscribers by mistake. We apologize for any confusion and want to assure our community that this version is not indicative of the final game. As we celebrate the 20th anniversary of Beyond Good and Evil, our commitment to delivering a game that meets the high expectations to our fans is unwavering. We're excited to announce that the official launch is set for early 2024, and we're dedicated to making it an experience that truly honors the legacy of the original. Thank you for your understanding and continued support. So if you saw those images being shared online, don't worry for the time being. Do at least wait until we get a more official reveal, and then we can kind of decide together on whether or not there's some kind of problem. With it releasing in early 2024, though, that announcement should come relatively soon and possibly at the Game Awards. Now, I do like what Ubisoft is doing here, though, because I mean, fans have been waiting for a long time, a very long time to see that sequel, and by this point, there's a lot of people who really don't know what this franchise is. So this Anniversary Edition is an opportunity for them to reintroduce this beloved series to not only old-time fans, but also everybody who had missed out on it originally. Otherwise, Beyond Good and Evil 2 could be an even harder sell for new customers. I mean, it's kind of like Alan Wake to Alan Wake 2. They did release that remaster before the sequel, and that kind of helps refresh everybody's memories, whether they played the original or not. So I kind of see it the same way with Beyond Good and Evil. Let's just kind of hope, though, that this is a sign that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is actually making progress, and hopefully we don't have to wait another 10 years. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though. We're asked you all, are you interested in Dragon's Dogma 2? Of course, they had that showcase yesterday where they announced its release date, which is on March 22nd. And as you can see here, apparently fans are very impressed because 41% of you said yes, definitely looking to get it, whereas another 32% of you all said maybe, but it depends on reviews and fan feedback. So that is a very good portion of you all who are at least interested. Now, of course, some of that's going to depend on those reviews and everything, and I can completely understand that. I think there are going to be a lot of new people to this series. The first game is probably one of the more overlooked RPGs in recent memory. Over time, fans have started to appreciate that game more and more. I think that word of mouth has really helped with this game. And, thankfully, because now we are getting the sequel, and I mean, everything that they've shown looks so fantastically good. The visuals, the gameplay, the monster designs, the AI, apparently it's all unscripted. Everything in this game looks so impressive. So, I mean, if it plays as good as it looks, then I think we're going to be in for a very good time next year when it releases again on March 22nd. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode. But if you liked the video, don't forget to put a notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.